All right, guys, let's talk about it. 49ers just came off a tough loss against the Seattle Seahawks 20-17 with Geno Smith making the touchdown to win the game and basically not leave any time left on the clock for the 49ers to have a real chance at securing the win. I'm not going to dive into that game, but we know that the Niners have consistently been losing games at the end of fourth quarters, and that's kind of been that's it's been tough. It's been tough to watch. But this video is going to be about me looking at the schedules for the NFC West teams. I think it's time that we get a thorough look to see what the lay of the land is for the level of competition for our division rivals, and basically just kind of get a feel for how these teams are going to end off. These are just my predictions. We have way more than a sample size to see how these teams may compete against other teams. And let's just go ahead and dive into it and take a look. I'll try to get through it without swarming up too much time. Let's just begin with the Seahawks. Right here, as you can see, I have the schedule popped up for the remaining games for the Seattle Seahawks. They just came off of beating the 49ers 20-12. Ugh, I hate looking at that. All right, so let's send it. Right now, the Seahawks sitting at 5-5. They'll lose to the Cardinals. They'll beat the Jets. This is just a feeling, but I think they'll beat the Cardinals second go around. I think Cardinals will beat them this weekend, but I think they'll get the better of them the second go around. That's too close together. Seahawks aren't a terrible team. I think they can catch the Cardinals by surprise there. They'll lose to the Packers. They'll lose to the Vikings. They'll beat the Bears. And they will lose to the Rams. So that'll leave the Seahawks winning only 3 more games to the season. That'll be against the Jets. That'll be against the Cardinals second go around. And that'll be against the Bears. So that leaves the Seahawks at 8-9. Rams. Here's their schedule. They got a tough one coming up against the Eagles, but they're at home. They'll lose to the Eagles, right? I mean, they're playing. No, yeah, they're playing at home. Okay. They'll lose to the Eagles. They'll beat the Saints. They'll lose to the Bills. They'll lose to the 49ers. They'll beat the Jets. They'll lose to the Cardinals. And like I said, they'll beat the Seahawks. So that leaves them only winning 1 against the Saints, 2 against the Jets, and then the last game of the season against the Seahawks. I have them finishing out the season 8-9 as well. I mean, I'm sure most of us can agree they're going to lose to the Eagles. They'll lose to the Bills. You can call me biased, but I think the Niners will get the better of them this go around. That first game, if it wasn't for Ronnie Bell dropping the ball to ice the game out, that would have been a dub. They'll beat the Jets. I don't think they'll beat the Cardinals. And I think they'll finish their season out with a win over the Seahawks for their last game at home. Cardinals. All right. Number 1 team in the NFC West right now. They'll beat the Seahawks, like I said. They'll lose to the Vikings. They'll lose to the Seahawks second go around. Just a feeling. I hope it happens. I hope they lose to the Cardinals both times. I hope they lose to the Seahawks both times because I need them to start losing some divisional games. Well, we'll get to that. When they lose to if and when they lose to the Vikings and the Seahawks second go around, people may think that the Cardinals are starting to fall apart. Not quite. Press on. They'll beat the Patriots. They'll beat the Panthers. They'll beat the Rams. And the 49ers will beat the Cardinals last game of the season because they're going to need that win a lot more than the Cardinals, and they'll find a way to get it. That leaves the Cardinals only losing 3 more games in the season. Vikings, second go around against Seahawks, and then the 49ers. That leaves them finishing 10-7. 49ers. All right. So I obviously talk about 49ers because that's really what I focus on when I make these videos. This is me as a fan. Okay? This is me as a fan. A lot of you guys may not agree with this, and that's okay. You have every reason not to for what I'm about to show my wins and losses. But even if you don't agree with me, you have to at least know that the 49ers have the team to do this. They have the players to do it. And just because they haven't been playing up to their standard lately, whether it's been injuries or whatever, doesn't mean that they can't do it. So you have to at least acknowledge, even though they haven't been playing how they should be playing at times, they have the players to do it. So let's go. They'll beat the Packers. They'll lose to the Bills. They'll beat the Bears, beat the Rams, beat the Dolphins, lose to the Lions, beat the Cardinals. They'll finish off the season 10-7, exact same record as the Cardinals. But here's the thing. If everything I just said pans out literally like that, the 49ers unfortunately will still not win the NFC West. Why? Well, I have no idea why that thumbs up just came up on my screen right there. That's kind of freaking weird, but whatever. Um, is it that? Huh, I don't know. Um, that at best, if the Niners, at best the Niners can finish against their division opponents 3-3. The Cardinals, if they pan out the way I just said, they'll finish out the division 4-2. So they'll beat the Niners for the West because of that. Um, as a fan, I mean, as someone who's like, okay, not as a fan. I already gave you my fan prediction. Well, if you want like my hardcore fan prediction, I feel like I would like the Niners to only lose one more game, and that would either be to the Bills or to the Lions, because they've gone on these crazy streaks at the end where they just do not lose after the bye. But we're after the bye. They barely beat the Bucks. Special teams was a disaster, and now they lost to the Seahawks. So now I can't really sit here and say that they're this crazy good team after a bye that they've been like the past 3-4 years, because unfortunately they're not that this year so far, but they still have 7 more games. So that's my ultra fan prediction, really, like 11-6. And I think they can for sure win the West if they only lose one more game to the season. But their schedule says otherwise because of how they're playing, and I can't argue that with people. But 10-7, I feel like even that may not be realistic. The way the Niners are coming off of their last 2 games, even though they beat the Bucks, with injuries, with how they're playing, um, people are going to think they're going to lose to the Packers, the Bills. I'm sure they'll believe they can at least beat the Bears, that they'll probably beat the Rams the second go around. They'll be at home, even though SoFi is their other home, Levi South, really. Um, Dolphins, it really depends how they're playing up to that point. But I mean, sure, yeah, they could beat the Dolphins. They'll probably lose to the Lions, and the Cardinals. It really just depends. So I think, despite them not playing their best, I think people for sure see them losing at least 3 more games, and that would be the Packers, Bills, and Lions. So that's why it's really important for those 3 heavy hitter top dog teams. It's really important that they at least win 1 out of those 3, but they have to beat all the other teams that are average or below average, like the Bears, Rams, Dolphins, and Cardinals. I'm not saying Cardinals are like average. I think they're playing better than an average team, but I also think that the Niners can beat them. I really do. So there's that. Um, Now on the flip side, let's just say the 49ers finish 10-7. Here's the thing. All hope is not lost as far as the Cardinals go. They're only half a game ahead right now because they're on their bye. But the truth of the matter is the Cardinals have only played 2 of their divisional games so far this season. We only have, well, for in their case, I believe they have 8 games left to the season, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, they have 7 games left as well. 3, 6, 7. The Niners. Hold on, okay. Regardless, I think Cardinals were on their bye. Excuse me if I confused you guys there. The 7 games the Cardinals have remaining, 4 out of the 7 are NFC West games. Seahawks twice, Rams, and the Niners. They're 2-0 right now. They're 2-0 right now in the division. If if somehow some way the NFC West can just swallow up the Cardinals and hand them some L's, then the Niners will have a real like a dramatically better chance of winning the West, but they have to win their games too. That's the thing. That's the thing. They've only played two and they won two. They have four more. Can they go, you know, can they go 2-4? I don't think they're gonna lose their remaining NFC West games, but can they at least go 3-3? And then what if they're 3-3 like the Niners? Now what? And they're 10-7. I guess I didn't do my homework on that. What is it? Point differential at that point? Home? Who has more home or versus away wins and losses? I don't know. So the Niners, they just need to go out there, start putting up some big points, because I know the Cardinals have been putting up some big points at times. Look, like they got a 42. No, they lost 42 there. Excuse me. They put up 41 here. They put up. I guess they only put up big points about once. Yeah. So there's that, guys. Look, I'm not gonna freak out too much over the Seattle loss. I'm freaking out because they shouldn't have won that game, but I'm not freaking out because I don't think that game really defined how good or how bad they are. The truth of the matter is, guys, look, Geno Smith and the Seahawks wanted that game way more than the Niners. I'm not saying that it was okay that the Niners lost because of that. I just think Seattle was just they wanted this game. I'm going to throw shade. This game was like their playoff game. This game was probably the biggest game of their season. I listened to Geno Smith's pre-game conference because I saw clips of it. They were asking him what this game against the Niners meant to him, and he basically said it was personal, that he's going into that game with a chip on his shoulder. The guy up until Sunday was 0-5 against the 49ers. He has never beat the 49ers as a starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. Never. It was personal for him. All he knows is L's against the 49ers. He was ready to finally break that, and he finally did. And he shouldn't have. I'm not gonna act like he went out there and balled out. I mean, it's just I think once Nick Bosa came out, the 49ers defense kind of collapsed. I know I said I wasn't going to get into this game. I just think Seattle put a lot out in this game to finally beat the 49ers. So he's 1-5 against the Niners now. Not going to think too hard about it. But the Niners have been relying a lot on their superstars. Kittle's out, lost. Bosa went out. The Seahawks didn't have any touchdowns up until Bosa went out. So take that as you will. Yeah, the 49ers are just blowing leads in the fourth quarter, especially against their divisional rivals. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it with this, guys. Sorry, I kind of felt like I wanted to burp. That's how I was pausing right there. I wasn't even excited about this Seahawks game because even if the Niners won this game, no one was going to care because it's the Seahawks. And no one's looking at the Seahawks as being like this really hardcore team. But now that the Niners lost, I know the media is probably going to make a pretty big deal about it throughout the week. And I'm probably not going to pay no attention to it because the way the media works, you win games, you're the best ever. You lose games, your season's over. And I start looking at comments. In the media, they have the biggest voice. I hate the stuff they put out there. They're going to be talking negative about the Niners. I think they'll be a little reasonable, but I'm probably going to avoid it this week as much as I can. I really care about the Green Bay game and the Bills game. I care more than anything about these next two games because guess what? Guess what? If the Niners can go out there and beat Green Bay and Bills, both of them, away, I'm telling you right now, everyone's going to be talking about the 49ers as being a real threat in the NFC. They're going to talk about, because those two teams are the hardest teams remaining on their schedule, hands down. Hands down. I'm lying. Other than the Lions. The Lions are going to be the last like juggernaut. But let's just say the 49ers beat the Packers and the Bills. You know how special, how great that would be for this team's morale. I'm obviously not in the locker room with these guys. I'm obviously I don't know them in a personal level. I know they're hungry. From what I understand, Kyle Shanahan said that they're just ready to get out to Green Bay and go play because of how bad of a taste the Seahawks game left in their mouths. Just like when they lost against the Chiefs, they went out to the Cowboys and they played the Cowboys and they got that nasty taste out of their mouth. They know they shouldn't have lost to the Seahawks. They know they shouldn't have. So now they're going to let all that anger and frustration out on the Packers. Good. Go out there. Stomp them. I hope you do. Like, we have McCaffrey out there. Hopefully Kittle will be back. I don't know about the status of both, but regardless, they have a freaking team, and Purdy can be special. And Kyle Shanahan needs to, like, get in his bag and get this offense going. And I'm not really going to put that game on Nick Sorensen against Seattle. He held them to 20 points. I mean, we're talking about a team you beat over and over and over again. 20 points isn't bad. It's not like if the Seahawks had put 30, that's a different story. The Niners should not have only scored 17 points. You're not going to win games. You're not going to win playoff games. You're not going to win a Super Bowl by only putting up 17 points against a team like the Seahawks that don't have a great defense. I think the Niners defense did okay. Um, but going back to what I was saying, if the Niners go out and beat the Packers and the Bills, and my God, I hope to God they do. What's stopping them then from believing that they can't go out and basically win the rest of their games? Imagine if they go out and they then beat the Lions, or let's say they go out and let's just say they lose to the Bills, right? But then they go out and at least beat the Lions. Imagine beating the Lions that late in the season. Now you know you can beat the best team in the NFC. What? Who's going to stand in your way in the playoffs at that point? What I'm trying to get at is this is where you're going to hear a lot of people start talking about the 49ers this week because they're going to go and play the Packers. If they win that, win or lose, they're still going to be talking about the Niners like crazy because then they're going to go play the Bills. The Bills are top of the headlines right now, especially after beating the Chiefs. The Niners, if they go out and beat two teams that get a lot of media attention, I'm telling you right now, everyone's going to be going crazy thinking this team is back. That's going to be the headline. The 49ers are back. And I hope to God it happens because I know they have the team for it. If they can beat the Bills, I mean, come on. Like, how are you then going to go lose to the Bears, the Rams, and the Dolphins? Honestly. At that point, really the Niners should only lose one game, and that would be against the Lions. And I don't even care if you lose to the Lions. Go into that game, see how they fucking play you, right? See what they like to do to you. So therefore, if you do go to the playoffs and you play them, you've seen what cards they've dealt and what they may try to do to you in that game as well. But the Niners need to win now because you don't want to be in a situation where you have to beat the Lions in order to get into the playoffs. And then also the Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals, they better be down because I think that it's going to come down to that to win the division for sure. But they need to, I really feel like if the Niners are really serious about getting to the playoffs, they're gonna beat the Packers and they're gonna go beat the Bills. If they lose one of them, uh, okay. But if they lose both, it's done. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Even if they win out the rest, it if they win out the rest, there's a chance still. But it's gonna be tough. I think I've rambled long enough. Let me know what you guys think about my schedule prediction thing. I just kind of wanted to get a lay of the land. Um, and I could look at the whole NFC, but I'm just saying the Niners need to win because the standings, the way it is right now, I can see all these teams winning their divisions. I think the Eagles, well, the Commanders can probably win it. The Commanders have a pretty easy remaining schedule. The hardest team on their schedule is the Eagles. Um, where am I? Standings. Ignore the West. Lions are taking the North. Falcons are I don't know. Falcons or Bucks are gonna take the South, but regardless, like there's only three wild card spots, guys. Like the Niners need this, or they're done. Because even if you tell me the Eagles or the Commanders don't win the division, you one of them are going to the playoffs for sure. The North, the North is too hardcore, man. You're gonna tell me the Vikings aren't gonna go to the playoffs? There's another one. You're gonna tell me the Packers aren't gonna go to the playoffs? That's already three. Between the North and the East, I can see them easily taking up the remaining wild card spots if the Niners don't start winning out. Honestly, um, I can see the North hogging up two wild cards and the East taking the other. Go look at their schedules. I'm not kidding. Like Packers, if you look at their schedules, okay, they got the Niners. Let's say they drop the ball there. I think they'll beat the Dolphins. They'll lose to the Lions, but I think they'll literally at that point, okay, so they're at 7 right now. That's 8, 9, 10, 11. I can see them winning. I can see them getting to 11 easily. Beat Dolphins, beat Seahawks, beat Saints, beat Bears, lose Vikings, lose Lions, lose Niners. That still puts them at 11 wins. That's better than what the Niners are trying to go for right now. Um, Commanders. I mean, have you seen their schedule? Titans, Saints. Okay, Eagles tough. Falcons. They could beat the Falcons. I think Cowboys. I mean, come on, like guys. I mean, it's panic. It's low key panic time. But there's games. But the Niners have to win. The Niners have to win. I mean, like shoot, you want to look at the Vikings too? Okay, Bears, Cardinals. I think they'll win both those games. Falcons. I can see that kind of being like a trap game almost. Bears again. Seahawks. Like their schedule's tough, but dude, I think they're gonna get in. So again, I've rambled on too long already, guys. Niners need to win out. They've already dug themselves a hole too deep. I think they only have enough room for maybe two more losses, two at best, two at best. And if they do lose two, they better freaking hope the Cardinals at least lose three more. Because if they go 10-7, there's a real chance they'll probably go 4-2 in the division. So, all right, guys, I'll leave it there. Let me know what you think. Sorry for holding you up for so long. I go on my tangents, but I just want to, I like to let this out, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. All right, peace.